Hello and welcome to Pips-N-Chits. Today I'm going to do a solo run through of Flip City. Flip City is designed by Chih Fan Chen and was published by Homo Sapiens Lab and Tasty Minstrel Games back in 2015. I'd consider it a card drafting, press your luck, engine building game where you develop a city and it's designed for 1 to 4 players with an estimated playing time of 30 to 50 minutes. Currently on Board Game Geek, it ranks at 6.4 out of 10, but quite personally, I think it should rank a little bit higher than that. I've introduced this game to friends of mine, and they've enjoyed it enough to pick up their own copies. It's relatively easy to learn, plenty of colorful, cartoony cards. It's family-friendly and relatively light play. In 2017, it spawned a standalone expansion entitled Flip City Wilderness that can be played by itself, or the cards can be mixed into the core set. However, I won't be using that one today. So for now, let's get to the solo setup where I'll explain about winning conditions and we'll get ready to play around. Okay, and now on to game setup. In the solo variant of Flip City, quite like the regular game, the goal is to lay out a city and score at least 8 victory points. And these victory points are denoted by the little ribbons down here on some of these cards. So the Central Park card has 2 ribbons right here. And in any given round, we want to get at least 8 ribbons out there in our play field. And that would score us 1 of the victory conditions. The other victory condition, which is very hard to do, especially in the solo variant, is if you ever play the convenience store here, it says down here, if you play 18 or more cards this turn, you win. But as I'll talk about here in a second, that's very hard to do because in the supply in the solo game, there's only 4 cards in each of these 5 piles. So we only have 20 cards plus our hand of starting cards here. So to lay out 18 cards, very hard to do. There's a built-in timer, which I kind of alluded to here a few seconds ago in the solo game. Every time we shuffle our deck, our discard deck, and start a new hand or a new round, we have to get rid of 1 of the cards from these 5 piles. We can choose whatever one we want to get rid of, but that will deplete that supply market there by 1 additional card. So every round we have less cards to choose from because some of them have been eliminated from the game, which speeds up the timer here. There are 4 cards, like I said, in each of the 5 markets, and I'm actually including the office cards. And this is actually optional. This gives my hand, or this gives this game 4 more cards in the supply. If you wanted to make this game actually harder, the solo variant is you could remove the office cards and shrink this down to a supply of 16. But I find that's kind of difficult to do sometimes, and there's some additional benefits to having the office here as well, and you'll see that demonstrated in the game as we play. When I play this with other people too, we always include the office. Seems to be a favorite card because of its powers that it grants, and those gets usually snatched up by everyone else. So if you haven't gotten at least 8 victory points by the time the supply runs out, the game is over. So what's our initial hand? Our initial hand is very similar to the regular game. And I'm sorry about the glare. I have kind of an overhead light and it's hard to see here. So we have 4 residential properties and 1 each of the convenience store, the hospital, the factory, and finally the apartment. And what's one difference here in the solo variant, when you flip the apartment, instead of in the regular game where it's kind of a take that mechanism, you would flip the card, it turns into a residential property, and you put it into someone else's deck. That kind of slows them down, kind of clogs up their deck a little bit. In this game, when we get 8 monies and we want to flip this apartment actually goes out of the game. It gets eliminated from the game. So it's kind of beneficial. If you have that kind of money to spend, you can get that out, and that kind of like frees up your hand a little bit more. And as what you just saw here, the hands, or the cards are double-sided, hence the name Flip City. And you just follow the instructions that are listed below here. A couple things to know about. Every time you lay down a card here, there's going to be a monetary value associated with it. This is how much it costs from the supply. If I wanted to buy it from the supply, in this case, the convenience store is 2. The hospital would cost me 4. The factory 5. Apartments don't cost anything, and neither do residential. We want to actually get rid of residential, and I'll explain that in a second here. Otherwise, the other value that you have down here is the flip symbol. So if I had retained 3 monetary units there, I could flip this convenience store into the shopping mall. And I might want to do that because every time I then play the shopping mall, I go from $1 gained to $2 gained, and I also get a victory point here. And some of these cards too, you can also flip back the other way. So I could spend $1 if I wanted to, and go back from the shopping mall and turn it back into a convenience store. In the case of the hospital, I could flip this for 4 coins and turn it into a church. Why would I want to do that? It adds one more frowny face to limit this turn. So let's talk about frowny faces really quick. In any given turn or round, you can only get 3 frowny faces. On your third one, the round stops, and you must move on to the next round. So that's where the press your luck element is. You do not want frowny faces. However, having a church played would raise that to a limit of 4. And if you play a second church, that would raise the limit to 5. Only some of these have frowny faces, the apartment and the residential. So obviously we want to get rid of the residential. And the reason why you want to get that rid of residential off the bat is whenever you play a residential, or actually I take that back, when the residential area, this whole card, is at the top of your deck, you have to play it. So when I shuffle these up, and this is the card that's on the top of my deck, you have to play it. And so it's in your best interest to either flip this to an apartment and get it, and then flip it again to get it out of the game, or try to buy more and more cards to kind of dilute your hand so that these residential areas don't come up as often. So in the starting hand here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 cards. Over time, when I purchase cards, my hand is going to grow every round. And so the chances of me pulling a residential becomes fewer and fewer. But at the same time, they don't provide any kind of victory points or anything like that. So we definitely want to get them out. So now that you kind of got the gist of it here, probably the best way to learn this and is to actually watch. So let's go ahead and play a round. Okay, let's get ready to play. First of all, I want to apologize for the glare. I'm shooting here in the morning, and no matter how I adjust my blinds or my overhead light, because my cards are sleeved, we're getting a little bit of a glare back into the camera, so I'll have to figure out what to do about that next time. Anyway, if you recall, here's our setup here. We've got our supply market of 5 properties with 4 cards each, and I have my deck of cards here, my starting deck, and you just have to trust me. I'm shuffling these cards up without looking at the top of the deck. Oops. Well, now I am going to look because I dropped that card. So now I'm reshuffling again. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see frowny faces. Remember, 3 frowny faces in a row automatically stops your turn unless you have a church. You develop a hospital into a church that allows you to have additional frowny faces. But we don't want to see residential. Residential would force us to play a card. We have to play residential, and if we ever get 3 frownies, our turn immediately stops, and any purchasing power that we had acquired up to that point is lost. So without further ado, I think I'm done shuffling and I'm taking a look. And, well, Central Park, first card I pulled. Gives me 2 victory points, but it says you may buy 1 additional time during this building phase. So that's nice, but I don't think I can generate enough coins to go ahead and purchase 2 properties at this time. So put that down. Residential, we have to play this card, and that already gives us 1 frowny face. Hospital here. There's nothing I can buy with 1 coin anyway. Might as well go ahead and play the hospital, but it says gain 1 coin for each frowny face you gain this turn. But my odds, I don't feel very good, and that's why, because it's residential. You have to play that. And because I have 3 frowny faces now, my turn immediately ends. I have no purchasing power at all. And unfortunately, the very first card I have is another residential, so I have to play that. Factory is kind of interesting. When you play a factory, if your deck is not empty, which it's not, place the bottom card from your deck into your discard pile. That's kind of a, can either be a benefit or a detriment depending on how your cards are. I mean, it would be nice to get rid of a residential or a negative card, but at the same time, if I have positive cards later on that I purchase and it gets rid of them, I don't want to see that happen. But at this point, one coin doesn't get me anything. I might as well play the factory. When I play the factory, the bottom card has to go away. It's the apartment. It is a frowny face, but I'd rather have an apartment than the residential, but it is what it is. So the factory is played. Oh, okay, well, I could stop right here. I've got a feeling, looking at my deck, discard, I know I have 2 residentials left. It's probably right after this convenience store, so I might want to stop here. I've got a purchasing power of 3. I could either buy 1 convenience store, I could buy the office here, that gives me a free coin, or I could flip 1 of my discarded residential into an apartment for a cost of 1. Very hard decision right now, because I kind of like the idea of this gets me 1 free coin, and otherwise I'll be throwing away 2 coins by flipping 1. I might as well take the office here. I'm going to take 1 office card and put these aside in my discard and continue to play. I've got a feeling I'm going to lose here with 2 residentials. So 1 convenience and, of course, 1 residential. So that did not work. I had to play that. I had to play that 1 residential there, which means I have to take my discards back into my hand, shuffle them. I'm going to put this discard back on top and continue playing. But because I did that, I have to burn 1 card because I don't have any more cards left. I'm going to go ahead and burn a Central Park. And why am I doing that? It's kind of hard to generate a lot of money early on in the game, so I've got a couple more chances to get Central Parks, and I should have, if you recall, 1 in my hand already, so I'm okay burning 1 of those. Anyway, I'm shuffling off camera. You have to trust me that I'm not looking. And put my office card back on top and continue play. So I've got 2 purchasing power and 1 frowny face. I'm going to go ahead and play the office here. That gives me 3 purchasing power. I could stop right here or continue. I kind of feel like I almost want to get another office for 3. I am going to stop right there. So I'm going to take these aside, put that office aside, purchase that second office, and continue here. So hospital, I will play for 4. Now, the interesting thing about the hospital, you gain 1 coin for each frowny face you gained after you've played this card. So Playing this card now, any frowny face I get gets me an additional coin. So there's one frowny face. Here's a second frowny face. So now this is worth 2 coins. So I have a total of 3 coins at this point. I do not want to play the apartments, because if I play the apartments here, if I play the apartment, then I get nothing. So I'll tell you what, instead of purchasing from the supply right now, I'm going to spend my 3 coins, and I'm going to take one of this residential, and I'm going to just spend 1 to flip it to an apartment. And now these are out, and I continue. So now I should have only 3 residentials now, I believe, and no longer 4. So play the apartment. There's 1 frowny, here's 2 frownies, and there's 3 frownies. So this is out. No purchasing power. Factory. If I play this, I have to burn this bottom card. I've got a feeling it's Central Park because I didn't see that come up. So, yep, Central Park would be out, and I have 2 coins. So now I'm going to take my discard pile, shuffle it off camera, not looking. Then I'm going to add the offices on top. And if you recall, because I'm shuffling my deck again, I have to burn another card. Do I want to burn a factory? Or maybe a hospital this time? I think I might burn a hospital. So I'm going to put my office on top and burn 1 hospital. So back in now. So I've got 2, 3, 4. I have to play residential, 1 frowny face, 1 frowny face there. I'm going to stop because apartment is a frowny. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh. You know what? At this point, I'm going to do what they call a develop. So during my turn, you could either purchase a card, you could flip a card in your discard pile, or if you have enough coin, you can also do a thing called develop, and that's paying the purchase cost and the flip cost at that time. So this would be 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a total of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and develop this. That flips this over to a shopping mall. Shopping mall immediately gives me, well, it doesn't immediately, but on my turn would give me a purchasing power of 2 and 1 victory point. And it says if your deck is not empty, you must play an additional card. That could be a bad thing. But anyway, that gets us 1 victory point closer. So that's going to go my discard as well as these. Put the offices slightly offside. So we have an apartment, have to play that. I have to play residential. I'm going to stop right there because if I play this, that would be my 3rd frowny. So 2 coins here, it might behoove me. Yeah, I'm going to spend these 2, and I'm going to flip another residential, this residential here, and I'm going to flip it to an apartment. And we're going to stop. So now I should only have, I believe, 2 residentials, which is kind of good. We don't want to see residentials. Hospital. I've got to play a hospital. For 1 coin doesn't get me anything, so I'm going to continue to play. Convenience store. If you play 18 or more cards, which that's not going to happen, so I have 2 purchasing power. 1 frowny face. I might as well play Central Park. 2 victory points. That does me nothing. But I will play my apartment. Let's see. Right now that gets me 1, 2, 3. I can continue going. Reshuffle my card, and I know I can spend the offices, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to shuffle my deck of cards, and remember I should only have 2 residentials left now. And put my offices on top. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 purchasing power, because this hospital, remember any frowny face gets me an extra 1 because of that hospital. So I'll play these 2. Oh, darn, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. So I had to play that residential. It was the top. I actually pressed my luck too far and I lose everything. So it's too bad. I had a lot of money up in there. I was hoping to get another Central Park. Residential, I have to play. I might as well play the apartment building. That's 2 frowny faces. I think I'm going to stop there. There's 2 coins. Because if I continue to play, if I play this card, I have to play another card, and it's very possible it might be residential. And if it's not, it would force me, the second card might be the residential. So do I have a resident? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend these 2 coins here, one of these 2 coins, and I'm going to take this residential and flip it to an apartment. So now I should only technically have, I think, 1 residential left, I think, which we just saw. Okay, shopping mall. If your deck is not empty, it's not. You must play an additional card, which forces me to play the factory. Factory says if your deck is not empty, place the bottom card into your discard pile. So that goes in the discard pile. I have to play that. But I have 1 victory point and 4 purchasing power. And I'm going to shuffle my deck up now. And because I'm shuffling the deck, I have to burn another card. I think this time I might burn a factory. Sometimes I don't like that the factory forces you to play another card, especially when you have residentials. Or it doesn't force you, it makes you put a card in the bottom of your deck. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm almost done shuffling here, and then my factories will go on the top. Or excuse me, my offices. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. So play an office. So now I have a purchasing power of 5, a purchasing power of 6, purchasing power of 7. I might as well stop here because at this point I could buy a Central Park, and that will give me 2 more victory points, and if it comes up during play, it allow me to do 2 different buys in my purchasing phase. So I'll stop right there. I will take the Central Park. These get discarded then. Offices get set aside. Apartment, 1 frowny face for 1. I might as well stop here. That gives, because if I play this 3rd apartment or this 3rd one, a 3rd frowny face, I don't have anything I can flip for. I can purchase, so I have 2. I might as well buy a convenience store for 2. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a convenience store and put actually that's only 2. I was thinking that if these were in the reverse order, that would have given me 3 purchasing power, but it didn't. Okay, so 1 frowny, Central Park. I have to play this residential. I'm going to stop because I don't want to use. If I play this one, then I get nothing. At least at this point here, I get 2 purchasing power, but there's nothing in my deck, nothing in my hand that I could really flip. The only thing that this would allow me to do is buy another convenience store, which I might as well go ahead and do. So I'll take these out now. I will play the apartment. I will play a second apartment. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to play a second apartment. I'm only going to play one, and I'm going to stop. With this purchasing power of 1, I'm gonna go ahead and flip my last residential that's in my deck here to an apartment. So now hopefully I should have no residentials left at this point. And I go ahead and play that. I have no more cards, so I have to shuffle my deck. Oops, I apologize for that. Bumped the tripod. And I have to get rid of another card. I think at this point I'm going to get rid of another hospital. Yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of a hospital here. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. I'm shuffling. And I'm going to put my offices on top. So I have 1 frowny and 1 purchasing power. So 2 purchasing power, 3 purchasing power. There's 4, 5, 6. I might as well stop here because I have 2 frowny faces and my next card is an apartment. So I have 6. Oh boy, if I only had 1 more, I could buy another Central Park. Gosh, 3, 4, 5. You know what? We're running out of cards, so I might purchase a hospital. I think I'm going to purchase the hospital, and with the option of flipping it in the future to a church. So put that aside. Put these cards aside now, and continue on. So we have an apartment, Central Park, shopping mall. Okay, so at this point now, I actually have 3 victory points. If your deck is not empty, you must play an additional card. So I have to play that card. So I have a purchasing power of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, here's what I'm going to do. With that 4, I'm going to take that hospital. There's the cost of 4, and I'm going to now flip it to a church. And the church would now allow me to have 1 more additional frowny face. So instead of ending my turn at 3, I can now end my turn at 4 frowny faces. Okay, apartment 1. Play this factory, and I have to burn from the bottom, which was Central Park. So 2, 3, 4, 5 purchasing power, and 2 frowny faces. I'm going to keep going. Shuffle my deck. At this point now, because I'm shuffling, I'm going to go ahead and burn another card. I think this time I'm going to burn another factory. So we'll go ahead and burn that factory, put my 2 offices on top. Okay, so office. So right now I have a purchasing power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go ahead and buy another Central Park. That gets me 2 victory points. And that'll stop. And these go in my discard pile. As you can see, I have another Central Park here, which gets me 2 victory points. And this would allow me to buy 1 additional time during this turn. I don't know if I'm gonna buy anything. So let's play an apartment for 1. Convenience store for 1, convenience store for 1. The church doesn't give me any purchasing power, but I have a limit now of 4 frowny faces. So I have purchasing power of 3. I could buy another office at this point. Let's go ahead and play the apartment. play Central Park. So now I have a total of 4 victory points. I can play this apartment again. Remember, now I've got 2 frowny faces, but the church raises my limit. So there's 3 frowny faces. But I am not going to play this apartment because that would put me to my limit of 4. So let's tally up my purchasing power now. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, I thought I had more than that. However, with 5, I could purchase 2 things. The Central Park allows me to buy additional. Or I could flip. I wouldn't mind flipping this hospital here. I would lose a coin. Well, what else could I flip? What could I flip for 5? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could flip this hospital for 4. I could flip the convenience store. You know what? I might flip my convenience store. Oh, for 5, I could flip my Central Park to a station, which gives me 3 victory points. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend the 5 there, and I'm going to flip this to a station. So put that in my deck. So that Central Park turned into a station now. That gets me closer. 1 frowny face. And play this for a total of 3. If your deck is not empty, actually it is, you must play an additional card. Well, it's empty, so I cannot play one. At this point, I can continue to press my luck. I might go ahead and do that, continue on, but I'm going to have to burn a card here before I shuffle. I think I'm going to get rid of another factory. What happens? What is the factory? Oh, if you flip a factory for 6 points, for 6 purchasing power, you can turn it into a power plant. That gives you 1 frowny face, it gets you 1 purchasing power and 2 victory points, and it says place an apartment from your discard pile into another player's discard pile. That's actually not too bad either, because that allows you to get rid of apartments from your own hand. So I might want to consider doing that. We're running out of cards anyway. But I have to discard a card here. So what do I want to get rid of? You know what? I might get rid of an office. Let's do that. I'm going to shuffle my deck. I have 1 victory point out on the table. I need a total of 8. I'm going to put my office cards on top of my deck and continue. So I've got 3 purchasing, 4 purchasing, 5 purchasing, 6 purchasing. Central Park would give me 2 victory points, plus this one. I have a total of 3 victory points. Go ahead and play the church. I will play the apartment. That gives me 2 frowny faces. I will play the convenience store for another point. I could play this hospital here. I might as well play this hospital, because I remember this church allows me to have up to 4 frownies right now. My purchasing power is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. I can buy this Central Park, which I might want to do. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to buy this last Central Park for 9. Let's see. So that's 7, 8, 9. So I have 2 left over, because this Central Park would allow me to buy 2 things. I could buy that convenience store, which I might as well go ahead and do. But now it's make or break. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards left in the supply. So I have to start scoring points now big. These all go off to the side. I'm going to separate the office cards out. Okay, so factory. When I play factory, the bottom card has to go, which was Central Park. Oops, Central Park, that should go in my discard pile, actually. Convenience store. 3 purchasing power station. There's 3 victory points right there. Apartment. I'm going to stop. So, because if I play this, that's 3 frownies. That gets me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might as well take this, my Central Park, or let's see, maybe I can flip an office. What does an office give me? No, I don't want to do that. Or do I? I don't want to flip the office. I'm going to flip Central Park here to another station and put these aside. Okay, this is where it starts getting scary. Play this one card, 1 frowny face. I have to get rid of a card. I'll get rid of a factory. No, you know what? I'm not going to get rid of a factory. I'm going to get rid of a hospital. So that leaves me with 3 cards left in the supply. Shuffle my deck. Then I'm going to put my 2 offices on top. We're close, but I don't know. Remember, we need a total of 8 victory points. It is possible at this point to get it in one hand, but we'll see. The office goes on top. So, office. Oh, not good. So I've already got two apartments, 2 frownies. Convenience store. Station. There's 3 victory points right there. Oh man, this is not good. If I play this hospital, I have to stop. I have to stop at this if I play this hospital. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could buy a factory. I really don't want to buy a factory. I have nothing to flip right now. I don't have enough to develop. I could buy that last office. I might as well. Golly, that's not what I wanted to see right there. Because I have this hospital without the church. So I might as well. I'm going to spend $3. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do not have enough to flip this to the trade center, so I'll just purchase it for 3. No, you know what? I'm gonna just for the heck of it, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a factory, and then put these aside. These now go in my discard pile. I have down the 2 cards left in the supply. So hospital. Shopping mall, I have to play a card. Church raises my limit now to 4 frownies. Play the apartment. That gives me 2 of the 4 frownies. Convenience store, Central Park. So I have 4 of my, I actually have 5 of my 8 victory points right now. I'll play the factory. I have to get rid of, not what I wanted to see. Station card has to be discarded. Oh, yeah. That could have won me the game right there. Darn. Darn. That could have, that would have put me at 8 victory points. The church would allow me to play up to 4 frownies. I have 2. I might as well play this frowny right there for 3. I might as well play this convenience store, and let's total up how many, excuse me again, how many purchasing power I have. So any frowny face after the hospital is worth additional coins. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 12 purchasing power. I could, for 11, I could purchase this. I could purchase this factory and flip it. You know what? I don't want to do that. Let's see what I have in my discard pile that I could flip. Station, apartment. You know what? For $6, I'm going to go ahead and flip this. That will give me 2 more victory points. I can't really flip anything over at this point. I already have 2 stations. Oh, well, I could get rid of an apartment building, but I really need the victory points come heck or high water. So Central Park, though, would allow me to do 1 additional thing. So how many do I have left over? So that cost me 6 to flip the factory. That should give me, I think I have 5 coins left over, right? So I theoretically, let's see, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I actually have 6 more that I could spend. It's not enough to get rid of an apartment. I can turn this convenience store. I'm going to turn this convenience store for 3 mall. That gives me 1 more victory point. But I've only got 2 turns left at most anyway. So we'll go ahead and do that. So that's turned into a shopping mall. Get rid of these cards here. I have to play this apartment. My hand is now empty. I have to get rid of a card. It's basically 1 turn left. Shuffle my deck. This is make or break here. Make or break. Boy, pretty close game here. That's why I like the office card. Leaving the office part of the expansion, it kind of gives you at least 4 extra turns, if you will. Without the office card in here, makes the solitaire a little bit harder to do. Might be a little bit more cautious of with those residential and apartment buildings. So done shuffling my deck. We're going to add my offices back in. This is pretty much it. So let me straighten this out. Got 1 frowny face to start with. So we got an office and an office. I got a power plant. Uh-oh. I have 2 frowny faces. Not good. Not good. But I have 2 victory points. The shopping mall gives me 3 victory points. Oh no, I think I might have lost. So 3, if your deck is not empty, you must play an additional card. Well, there's my frowny face right there. So that's 3 frownies. I just lost 3 victory points. Hopefully I can make it up in here because I still have my hand, but these are discarded. It's not good. So convenience store, 1. Oh, frowny face. This is not good. Second frowny face. Factory. If your deck is not empty, you have to use the bottom card, which was get rid of the convenience store. Central Park. Okay, there's 2 victory points. Station. There's 5 victory points. I need 3 more victory points. I have 2 frowny faces. The church will allow me to add 1 more frowny face, so now my limit is 4. Good news, station came out. There's 3, 6, 7, 8. We actually won the game with 1 card left. So I have a total of 8 victory points, utilizing 2 stations and 1 Central Park. We had 1 card left back in the supply, and how many cards did I have left in my hand? I had 5 cards left in my hand. So it would have been the convenience store, an apartment. If let's say that station would not have come up, I would have played the apartment. So let's say that station wasn't there. That would have got me 3 frowny faces up to my limit of 4. That would have gave me 4. Wow, we would have lost. So thankfully that station came up when it did. Otherwise, if that station wasn't there, we definitely would have lost. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, 4 frownies. I would have had to get rid of this whole hand right here. That would have left me 2 cards left. This and this, that would have gave me 2. Well, I guess, well, the supply would have ran out. I would have had to shuffle this deck, and this would have had to been burned. So yeah, we basically, it came right down to the wire. So at that point there, again, in the nick of time, with 5 cards left in my hand, we were able to score 8 victory points there, and not too soon. So anyway, that's a playthrough of Flip City. Maybe next time we'll go ahead and incorporate Flip City Wilderness. If you guys would like to see a playthrough of this version, either alone or incorporated, go ahead and leave me a message, a comment in the fields below. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this rendition of Tasty Minstrel Games and Homo Sapiens Lab. Flip City solo variant, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.